We are now.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to DYC Facebook Live episode number
600,
403. I don't know.
604. Yeah,
Yeah,
403
600,
network.
403. I don't know. We lose count. My name is Jen Barkin, and this is
Mike Lyon.
Mike Lyon. Welcome, guys. We are so excited to be here. Anybody wondering why I have on this hat that says press? Anybody
I think you
wondering?
just wanted an excuse to wear a cool hat.
Just want an excuse to wear a hat. Well, yeah, I always like to wear hats, as you know from our last episode. But today, yes, today I am wearing the hat that says press on it because I am going to be interviewing the Mike Lyon about a very important topic. He just wrote an article about it and we thought it was important. We wanted to talk about it some more. What is the future of online sales? So that's always kind of, what's next? What's next in our industry? We want to be at the forefront of our industry. So Mike, what's the future? What does the future hold for us?
Wait, is that an interview question? Are we shift? Is it now? Are you now wearing your interview hat?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. This is
okay.
Yes.
Well, thanks, Miss Barkin, for asking. The article that's out, you guys can follow the link. We'll put it here in the post in a second. But it's something we hear often, like, hey, what's next? What's next? What's next? For especially the people who've been doing this for a while and are hungry for the next piece of technology or tool or things that's out there. And so I think our job at Do You Convert, what Kevin and I think about, what Jen thinks about, is how do we help all the builders out there and online sales specialists kind of shift through the noise and get to the stuff that's really going to help them today and not be left behind, right? So one of those things is avoiding a term, we call it's the hype cycle, right? There's a lot of hype around a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
And it goes up and it peaks and then it drops off. And after the early adopters goes, yeah, this really didn't do what we thought it was going to do. So we want to avoid that. But there are some things that we know in the future of online sales, things that are actually going to be necessary. And the first, which is total, almost anti-technology, is you will need more actual human bandwidth. Like people, when you do this right and we leverage technology and you have all these leads and you have everything in there, working for you, you're going to get more people who want to talk to a person. And that's what our goal is, engagement, if that makes sense. And so you're going to need actual real people because this is a big ticket item. It's the home. It's the third most stressful thing that you'll go through. It's probably the most expensive thing you'll ever purchase. And our philosophy is the best customer experience actually happens with a person, whether that is them talking on the phone, them emailing back and forth, them doing a FaceTime video or chatting or texting, right? It doesn't matter, but they want to talk with the humans. So that's the first thing.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Let me go back and dissect a couple of things you said. So, talking about we need more people, you're specifically talking about we need more online sales specialists. How do we know when it's time to grow our team?
That's a great question. Very quickly, the answer is, because we've gone over this sometimes before, but very quickly, it's when you've maximized and leveraged the technology to make them as efficient as possible, they're still getting a lot of leads or more leads than they can handle. They come to you crying, saying, I don't ever get a day off. That's when you know you need a second person. The other thing that you can look at too is just the math. By adding that second person, can we get a net positive increase in appointments and sales without spending too much money? If we can triple or quadruple our investment in the person, then that's when you know you need the next person. And right now, there's nothing that we can really grab onto from a technology standpoint that's replacing those people. So
yeah, for sure. And I can remember thinking when you're talking with some people, I don't want to give up. I don't want to give up my leads. I'm afraid that, I'm going to give away commission and things like that. But what we've actually seen, guys, is that you actually end up being more productive when you have a second person because you actually have the time to spend and invest on each of those leads even more. And you actually will convert more. So
that's right.
Let's talk about one of my favorite things, which is AI.
Yes, AI.
What is AI? What is,
Before I answer that question, which we love to answer that question, please do, if you would like to be an interviewer yourself and ask any questions or post comments on Jen's hat, you can definitely do that right now. So let us know that you're here. Say hi. AI was a great movie in 2001. Steven Spielberg cast Haley Joel Osment in the lead role of the little computer boy that anyway. No,
that's not what I meant.
Critically panned, 73% on Rotten Tomato, barely fresh.
So
anyone, if you've seen the movie AI, please chat it out. We might give you an award for that one. Right.
This is a topic that I'm a little sensitive about. When I was at when we were at IBS in January.
More acronyms.
Oh, look, Andrew says Jen loves AI. Yeah. So Andrew was
movie. AI the movie. Yeah.
A lot of people were talking about, AI and chatbots, and I started getting defensive because I was thinking about the role of the online sales specialist, which, is super passionate about, hey, is this going to replace the online sales specialist? How is this affecting the role? So Mike, talk a little bit about how we can incorporate chatbots and how they could help, how could they not, talk a little bit about that.
So artificial intelligence, that's a widely, it's used across a lot of things. So there's chatbot is a form of artificial intelligence. Right. Siri, Alexa, all these things is leveraging this tool. We don't got to get into that, but a lot of people are saying, well, can that start to do some of the same functions of an online sales specialist or, responding to customer inquiries and things like that? And the short answer is yes, of course it can. The long answer is, do we really want to give that up right now? And, you've got to just be careful. That's always our thing, is be careful of the company coming in and saying, hey, this is it. This is going to solve your problem. This is going to help you do your job better. I mean, we saw that with chat, when chat first came out, everybody's like, chat's it. And 6 years later, we're still waiting around going, I thought chat was supposed to get me more leads and make more appointments. It didn't happen. So chat bots are basically just taking that chat function or texting platform or things like that and starting what looks like a real conversation. And there's some exciting stuff on the horizon. I mean, Google Duplex, they just did the demo of this where you had someone calling and booking a hair appointment on behalf of the person who wanted to get their hair cut. And everybody's like, this is amazing. And instantly we go, how can we use this? All right. So will we be able to use it? I think so. Absolutely. I think it will definitely enhance, some things, some specific things that would work well. Kevin and I were talking about this recently, a VIP coming soon community where everybody's asking the same question. Could they chat with a bot and, when they're saying, when does it open?
Yes.
How much is it? How do I get on the VIP list? You can pre-program answers. That can work. That's exciting. Yeah. Or you've got landing pages, where you're getting a boatload of leads and you want to sift through some of that. Or you've got aged leads that we could send something out. That could all work. But replacing things that should be done by the actual human. Listen, when we talk about virtual assistants or things like that, when you're saying a $400,000 home, you're dealing with this and you have questions about this and you're relocating, you don't even want to talk to a human assistant, let alone a robot assistant.
Exactly.
You want to talk with a person who can help you. So we're not there yet. Let's not solve today's problems with stuff that's coming out 5 years from now. Let's really focus on the things that we can leverage at our fingertips. And I don't want to get too high on a soapbox, but
and you said, when we were first opening this up, this is a huge emotional experience for somebody, right? And, we don't live in a black and white world. If we live in a black and white world, sure, I could see you having these standardized answers, but there's a lot of gray in between their folks. And when you're dealing with somebody's emotion and things, they want to talk to somebody, a human. Right. Yeah.
Hey, real quick, I want to get your feedback, Facebook Live. What do you think about the automation or potentially over automation of working with customers? How does that strike you? I'd love to get some comments from you and we can definitely address those. One thing I always think of is, you can't, you don't want to automate the relationship building process.
Right.
And so much of this sales cycle, the complex sales cycle, is based on relationship and trust. I do not trust Alexa yet. I trust her for some great dad jokes, but and to get the score of the Cavs versus Warriors, but that's
my husband moved her to the other room because he was like, she's listening to us.
That's funny.
Okay, so let's talk about what are some things, that was kind of a good segue. Like, what are some things that are currently at our fingertips in the industry, that some tools that we could be using and really taking advantage of right now?
Yeah, we'll definitely get into that. Diana says she had a hire assistant company come out of California and tried to work and book that stuff. It didn't quite work out. So yeah, we're close, but we're not there yet. It definitely happens. So what are some of the things that we could start using? I mean, this is a great one from Rachel even here. Would an automated appointment request count? Like, yeah. So I think I'm understanding this question, Rachel, but like if someone's coming in and requesting an appointment, do we get to count it for a commission? One, yes, AI appointments count for commission, but two, thinking about ways, even leveraging some of these remote, these tasks that are repetitive that are happening over and over again. So things like appointment booking and the approval and the texting and the updates and the back and forth, those are all things that you may have to do manually. There's great tools out there that you can leverage. One we use is called Calendly. Some of the CRMs that we're working with are integrating and starting to create these appointment routines that are stuff going back and forth. That's something that you can use right now. Another cool technology that we see people leveraging, obviously, is any way to automate your dialing when you're making the calls. Now, you can't robo-dial people. That's illegal. But you can use an auto dialer, meaning it's dialing the number for you. If it goes to voicemail, you leave a pre-recorded voicemail, it moves on to the next one, and it dials and it tells you who you've connected with, who you haven't. That's artificial intelligence, being able to leverage that to do your job quicker. Sales automation, obviously, that's a no-brainer. Lead scoring and marketing automation. Looking at who is opening emails and developing lists from people who are taking action in the direction that you want to go. Looking at website activity and creating custom lists from that. These are all the things that you can use right now as a human being and really do your job better and get more focused and targeted. And that even goes beyond things like this, video. Like, I'm still blown away.
I know.
I'm not talking about
We've been talking about it forever.
But being able to do a FaceTime or out there on site, and we'll talk about AR in just a second, so augmented reality, but out on site and being able to shoot, that's technology that's available now. People just don't do it because they're freaked out. And Jen, you have a story about selling a home with Facebook, right?
Yeah. So when I was an online sales specialist, the market that I was in, tons of relocation buyers, right? Highly transient community, with military buyers. Someone called in, they just wanted to see a spec home, right? More pictures that we didn't have. And so I said to the salesperson, hey, why don't you do a FaceTime appointment? She just wants to walk her through on FaceTime. He wasn't sure how to do it. He didn't have a smartphone. And I said, well, you know what? I'm going to come out there and I'm going to do it because I really feel like this person is a buyer and they've got to move. They are a buyer. So I went out there. I did the FaceTime appointment with my salesperson right next to me. That way he could answer any questions that, she might have had. Right. And she ended up buying the home that day. Like, send in the, electronically, send over the contract, and she ended up buying the home. But she just needed that extra reassurance, right? Mm-hmm. And it felt like she was there. We just walked her through the spec home together. So It's interesting, Mike, these things that you're talking about, these are things that we've had in our toolbox, most of us, for quite some time. So it's kind of like, we need to kind of get back to using what we do have and kind of retraining ourselves and our salespeople what we do have currently and getting better at that, sometimes before you look to the next big thing or shiny thing.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and just a great example of leveraging the tools that we have. But again, it all comes back around to some people are afraid of the technology. Some people don't want to use. Some people haven't practiced it enough, and we want to get past that. Again, the goal is don't be afraid of this. Embrace the stuff, but embrace the things that work.
Right.
Our challenge is we see people chasing too many things for too long that are not worth the investment, time, or the energy to do what really a salesperson or online salesperson should be doing. And I love this comment from Corey. She has a little bit of an accent. And she says, Alexa doesn't understand what I say. Hey, the struggle is real. I understand. You say recognize speech or recognize beach. They can't tell what's going on.
Oh, that's pretty good, Mike.
Hey, I stole it. So, whatever. Listen, chat bots. Well, don't freak out about that stuff. People are asking, are chat bots dead? Are we past this? We don't even know if they were ever really alive in the first place. So, we'll move on past that one. The big thing is investigate, make sure these things work for you, make sure it's worth the investment, and you move on from there. There's a lot of things that are worth your time, energy, and investment. So we're helping.
And do an audit of your current tools. Before you're looking at investing in something else, because sometimes you forget, like, oh, I forgot I even had this at my fingertips. So do a current audit. Yep. And Lacey says, I'm slightly controlling in nature. I don't know if I could trust an AI system. I think your AI system would pick up on that and go, Lacey is controlling. Make sure we ask if she approves. Okay, so final thing is some other tools. I love what's happening. I see this coming out from Rendering House, where they are starting to place a home on, using augmented reality, place it in a live location. So that was cool, number one, right? Yes. And you can actually see this. I'm sure you guys, if you follow this, you've seen what they're doing out there. But now they're doing it to where you can change colors and exteriors. They're working on that. These, again, are the tools that when you have that relationship built, when you have that customer engaged, you can help them along the process. And it doesn't just have to be when you're physically present with that customer. So you're an online sales specialist on the phone, right? Or in an email, you get them on the phone and say, I want to show you something. Having them pull up the same thing on the screen together and walking them through these tools. Remember, our customers also need education on how to use the tool. They're still trying to figure out what this, 360, what is this panorama, what's happening? And so you got to walk them through and help them. A lot of times you can guide them with that. So that's definitely a tool that you can use and help in the selling process. And what I would kind of end with before we answer a couple more questions from the audience here is, one, do not be afraid of the technology that's coming. Nothing's going to replace you yet. Maybe in the future. Hopefully, the only thing that this great technology and artificial intelligence and chatbots and everything that, marketing automation, all these things, what it will replace are the mundane, repetitive tasks that you don't need to be doing to help you focus on the things you do need to be doing, like relationship building, like working with those customers that are active and engaged. The second thing is we have to do this too. Avoid being the Luddite or the person who's just stuck going, no, this is the way that works. And and I don't think texting and no, we don't want to be that extreme either. Right. Mm-hmm. Show me the technology. Let's get a use case. Let's make this work and let's put it into action. But do all of that once the foundation is set up. And, a lot of people are seeing the praises of this product or that product or the other, doing things that really, I turn around and look, it's like a salesperson should know how to do that. We shouldn't leave that up to AI to take care of that. A salesperson should be doing that when they walk out the door. So I just want to encourage everybody. Technology, this quote, we've been talking about this for a long time. Technology will never replace you, but the agent and the online sales specialist who leverages technology will definitely replace the one who doesn't, because you can be superhuman. You can do 120% of the work that the other person could right next to you. So, a lot of tools, a lot of opportunities out in front of you. Don't be afraid, but also be skeptical, right? And make sure that it works before you sign a big check or sign on for something and learn something new.
Jen,
that was great. Thank you. I mean, make sure that you guys are staying current, with what's happening in our industry too. Just like Mike was saying, like, do your research, have a case study, have a use study, so that before you get this new shiny tool, you've kind of tested it out. And, just remember to really look at what your current processes are, do your audits before you make a shift to something else. Are you doing everything 100% of the time, 100% of the leads, 100% of the process? So really look at that before you move to the next thing. Anybody have any other questions? Darren says, how does AI build trust?
Artificially. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of those things where it won't happen the way that you can do. Just the nuances, like, will artificial intelligence tell us, hey, this is a B prospect, you should be calling them in 30 days because they've been back on your website? Absolutely. Would it remind you about the conversation you had about the kids' baseball tournament, which is why you're calling back in 30 days? Unless you're getting very clear instructions, no. Is that the thing that takes that relationship to the next level? Absolutely. So, again, you're leveraging both of those things together. Here, a quick list for those of you still with us. We've got a lot of you guys still hanging with us. Quick list of things you should be using now. Leveraging your CRM, leveraging sales automation, leveraging marketing automation, looking at analytics back end to make sure we see what's going on with website visitor tracking, et cetera, et cetera. Make sure you're using that. Call tracking tools, dialing tools, auto dialers, things like phone burner. That's a tool for you. Make sure that you're leveraging that. Video tools, not just bomb and one-to-one video, but even Diana said screen shares. Now they can record screen shares with you showing plat maps and floor plans and contracts. You've got those opportunities. The FaceTime, where you're actually having a live conversation with somebody, leveraging those tools. And then AR tools, which are really starting to come along, so your ability to look at 360, your ability to put renderings in places and do color, those are all things that are here now. And the final thing I would say as it relates to social, some of that technology along there, we're seeing a lot more conversations starting to happen organically in these worlds. But of the 50 builders that we shopped and put comments on their post, only 5 responded. Like, who's waiting for the chat bot to respond to those? Because that didn't do it either. Get a person on those and reply to the people who are asking questions right on your social posts, comments, and things like that. So we've got so much stuff that we can do right now. Don't sweat missing it. We promise you, I swear it, today on Facebook Live, episode 403, if there's anything cool and awesome, we will share it with you here first. So
yes,
everybody take a deep cleansing breath, right? It's okay. Everything's fine. Go watch the movie AI. Jude Law's great. Right. And thank you so much for tuning in. We always love having you. Please do, in your comments, let us know what you would like us to talk about next. We always like to get on, try and do it once a month. Be sure to go visit doyouconvert.com. We have opportunities for you to sign up for our email newsletter. Stay connected on the socials, and make sure you let know Jen how much her hat and pressing means to you. Everybody have a great week. We'll see you very soon.
Thanks, guys.